Now, throughout the course of this class, I'm going to be talking to you about a number of different tactics that I personally use to brainstorm new niches to help find new products, and especially geared from a perspective of trying to get search engine rankings, where I want to be able to go after unique keyword phrases that might have a higher traffic advantage with a lot less competition to go along with it. So I do this in a number of different ways. You can use any one of these, or you can use a combination of them, whatever works to your liking and your personal style, obviously. So I want to talk to you about these in detail tonight, and I'm also going to be demonstrating these tactics for you as well. Now, to start out with, I'm going to be using Amazon. Amazon is kind of the no-brainer place to start. I'm not going to be spending too much time here because I did spend a decent amount of time here during the actual Amazon 30-day challenge. So we'll just be visiting this briefly and then moving along to bigger and better things. Like I said before, I'm actually going to be demonstrating this stuff to you guys and not just giving you a boring slideshow presentation here. The slideshow, though, does help to give a little bit of structure to the entire presentation, especially if you are watching back on the recording of this at a later point in time. So to start with, on the Amazon website, you obviously have your normal categories that you can browse through. I find that a lot of affiliates, though, exclusively stick to these main categories that are listed here. So I would highly recommend that you check out their full store directory, which can be found at the very bottom of their Shop by Department menu. This will actually list out all of their main categories and then the main subcategories that are found on the Amazon website. Now, there are even more subcategories beyond these where you can drill into any one of these categories here, and there's going to be even more listed down below that. But this does give you a more complete listing than what you're being shown in this initial menu here. So if you find yourself constantly browsing through the same products in the same niches and you're looking for something a little different, this is a really good place to start that search. Now, in addition to having a lot of the normal stuff up at the top, as far as just standard product categories and things of that nature, I also kind of like this bottom listing of links. This gives you a selection of special areas on the Amazon website where you actually have different kinds of deals or maybe limited time special offers, certain things such as exclusive Amazon private label brands. This is something that I've actually explored and set up some different websites to promote some of these exclusive Amazon products because you can't find these kind of things in retail stores. Now, these additional links down on the bottom, again, these are outside of the standard Amazon categories that you have. But I do highly recommend taking a closer look into them because it can give you a different perspective on things. It can give you different types of products or ways to promote products that you may not ordinarily think about. And again, the Amazon private label brands is something that I really recommend because people can't go to a retail store and buy these products. If they enjoy the product and they're interested in that particular brand, they have to buy these things through Amazon. Now, in addition to simply browsing through different kinds of categories that are available to you on Amazon. Something else that I'm really interested in is products that are either brand new or recently available on the market, and especially products that are not yet available on the market. These products, you're not going to have an overwhelming number of affiliates that are already targeting them. And this is especially true with automated software that might build websites based on a keyword phrase, for example. If these websites were generated 6 months ago or a year ago or more, and you have a product that was just released last month, chances are many fewer affiliates will be targeting them. Now, there are a number of ways that you can try to find any of these types of products. If you drill into any particular category on Amazon and you look over on the left-hand side, in a decent majority of them, you can find sections here talking about new arrivals, sometimes in the last 30 days, sometimes in the last 90 days. Depending on which category you're in, this little section can actually be slightly different. They will even sometimes give you links to upcoming products, especially in the electronics and the computer categories. You're often going to have products that are essentially pre-launched on the Amazon website. They'll actually take pre-orders on them. So you can latch on to these, set up pages about them, target the keyword phrases relating to these kinds of products, and get yourselves ranked on Google long before the average affiliate ever realizes that these products are even available to promote. Now, in addition to this, another place that you can look is through the bestseller listings. You can find this again on pretty much any category throughout Amazon. Just look up at the top for the bestseller link. Now, a lot of people commonly look through these, but the hot new releases subsection of this actually gives you more of the kind of information that you're looking for. These are going to be the more recently released products on Amazon. But on top of that, it's also the ones that are selling more frequently than, say, the ones that are just released, but nobody's really noticed them, or they're a complete flop. Don't limit yourself also to just the top 20. Drill down into these lists. Just because they're not the number one bestseller in a particular category does not mean that it's not worth your time to try to pursue these kinds of things. Now, as I mentioned before, I'm not going to be stopping on the Amazon website for too long, because I think a lot of people do spend a fair amount of time there already to explore these products and niches through that avenue. So I wanted to go into some of my more creative ideas that I like to use outside of the Amazon website especially, and talk to you about how I utilize these to find new niches, or to find new products, or maybe even just to verify that a product actually sells online. And that's something that I find to be pretty important. You can easily target any one of a million different types of products that are out there, but some of them are popular in terms of selling online, and some of them are not so popular. Even if something is really popular in a retail store, it does not give you any guarantee that it's going to be popular online. So investigating a potential niche that you are considering building a website around before you actually put the work into building that website can really be a major advantage. If you're able to verify that, yes, people do buy these products online, and maybe even get a list of some of the most frequently purchased ones within that niche. So One of the other websites that I like to use for this purpose is actually Commission Junction. This website is cj.com, just in case you are not familiar with it already. In a lot of ways, Commission Junction is really similar to Amazon in terms of you have physical products that are being sold there. You could even mix and match Amazon ads and Commission Junction ads within a single niche website if you wanted to. But what I really want to talk to you about tonight is more geared towards how you can utilize Commission Junction to help you in your niche brainstorming and research process while you're building your websites. So I want to go to the Commission Junction website right now. I actually got started on Commission Junction many years ago. It wasn't even called Commission Junction back then. It got bought out. It's even been quite a few years since it changed over to Commission Junction. I don't really heavily use it these days in terms of promoting products and trying to refer sales on it. But as far as it being a research tool, I do still heavily make use of this, especially when I'm building my Amazon affiliate websites. The reason why is because on Commission Junction, you have a lot of physical products. You may not be able to find every single thing that you can find on Amazon. However, I can guarantee you that there are some specialty types of products that you can find on Commission Junction that you in fact cannot find on Amazon. So I have had situations come up where I'm looking into this niche that I want to build a website around, and I find some products on Amazon, but maybe I find a product that's brand new to the marketplace and it's on Commission Junction, but it's not on Amazon. Do I try to promote the old Amazon product, or do I try to promote the newer Commission Junction product? Now, I'm not saying that this is going to happen in all situations, but I did want to give you an example of when something like this may actually hold true and when you may want to actually look into promoting a product through Commission Junction instead. In terms of using this for your research, though, the main area I would recommend to stick to, and you will need an affiliate account to do this, by the way. However, it's completely free to do that. You don't have to actually utilize it in terms of promoting products and things of that nature. First thing that I would recommend to do is to go to the advertiser section. This is pretty much the main area where you're going to find free information available to you that you can utilize as an Amazon affiliate. To start out with, you have all of these different options that are available over here on the left-hand side. The one in particular that I find to be really important, especially if you're doing an Amazon affiliate website, is the geographic source setting down here at the bottom. With this setting, you can actually find the advertisers and also the kinds of products that are actually selling within specific countries throughout the world. As an Amazon affiliate, you have your traffic separated by countries to the point where somebody that lives in Germany and somebody that lives in the United States, you can't really send them to the same Amazon listing. The buying habits are going to be different. The shipping prices are going to be way out of whack if you're not promoting to the right location. So by narrowing down your geographic source here in Commission Junction, you can actually find the kinds of products that are selling to the residents of the country that you want to be targeting. So if you're trying to target Amazon.com and maybe you're not using any of the other Amazon locales, then you can exclusively look under United States here. I'm going to be revisiting this here in just a couple of minutes. There are actually some situations where you can find out even more information as far as the geographic source of people that are buying these kinds of products. From here, you can search for advertisers by name. You can search for advertisers or types of products by keyword, very similar to what you would do on the Amazon website. You can also browse by various types of categories and even subcategories that are available here. So if you're looking for anything particular, then you can easily find those types of things. But if you do just want to simply browse around and try to find something brand new, for example, that you're not already targeting, you can certainly do that as well. So I could just check any one of these particular boxes and refine my search without providing any kind of other criteria up in the top here. And this is going to give me the companies that are selling these types of products to the people that live mostly in this country. Now, within any one of these particular advertisers showing up here, you have to consider one of a couple of things here. Are people buying from this advertiser because they're after that brand name? Or are people buying from the advertiser because it's another kind of an e-commerce website, similar to Amazon, but obviously a lot smaller? As an example, Lenovo here, for example, they make computer hardware. They're the actual manufacturer, and so this is a brand name that people are pursuing. Whereas you have other places, compensave.com. I'd be willing to bet that this is more of an e-commerce type of a website where they have products from a wide variety of different manufacturers. This is important if you are using the advertising information that's available to you here to gauge whether a niche is actually popular or not. You can look over on the right-hand column here and find the EPCs. This is earnings per click that people are actually receiving by promoting products on these websites. Obviously, the higher earnings per click that you see, then the more popular this kind of a product is, at least in general, without having to really do too much in-depth research into the subject. Now, if you click on any one of these advertisers, you'll find more information about them. The most important one being over here on the right. This is your country conversion data. Where are their customers coming from? This immediately tells me this brand is sought after in a specific country. 93.5% of their customers are coming from the United States, at least the ones that are being sent through Commission Junction. Now, you can dive even deeper into these individual advertisers if you want to, and actually explore the individual products that they have. Now, there are two different sections of this, and depending on the advertiser, you can get a variety of different types of links from these areas. The first one, get links right here. This is really more for special offers that the company might be offering. For example, around the holiday time, they might be running some kind of a sale. Maybe they have a discount coupon code that they're making available to affiliates. Those kinds of affiliate links and information relating to the performance of them would be found through this Get Link button. However, as an Amazon affiliate, you're really going to be more interested in the product information, so this would be found through the Get Products button. When you click on the Get Products button, you're going to be shown kind of similar information to what you were just seeing for individual advertisers, except now you're seeing it for individual products just within that one advertiser. And you again have your EPCs being shown to you on the right. Another convenient thing is your product price. Easy to find right here in the middle if you're searching for something particular in terms of maybe you only want a product that's $100 and above. You can easily find those, and you can also easily tell which ones are selling on this network. Within some of these products, you may even be able to get some kind of additional information. They're not all going to show you the geographic targeting type of information like what you're getting for each advertiser. But if you're looking for simply extra knowledge to go along with the product, or if you want to go and check out the product on the actual website, there is a lot of extended information available for you by simply clicking on any one of these. Now again, you can use this information here as research to help you find new niches and also to help you to verify that the products that you want to promote are actually selling online. When you can find that they're selling on websites other than Amazon, I can pretty much guarantee you that they're going to be selling on the Amazon website itself, unless there is maybe a drastic price difference. In most cases, though, that I've seen, the Amazon prices do beat out the commission junction prices. So you actually are generally promoting the best deal when you are promoting the Amazon products. Now, beyond commission junction, another website that I like to use is eBay. eBay is another popular online marketplace where physical products are commonly sold. On top of that, though, eBay provides a pretty decent amount of information about what products are selling, what's popular, and they're even pretty helpful for their sellers because they want their sellers to be selling more products. It helps them to make more money. So they actually have a lot of information that is available to not just sellers, but to anybody. And you can utilize this, again, as an Amazon affiliate for both niche research and also to help you verify that products are actually selling online. On top of all that, though, just like with commission junction, it is a possibility to be an eBay affiliate, where you can actually send people to listings that are on eBay and get a commission for referring sales on them. eBay is a lot pickier, though, with getting approved. So if you do decide that you want to try to promote eBay products as an affiliate, I would highly, highly recommend that you get an extensive website set up with unique content. Essentially, you need to have something really, really useful and impressive that you're going to present to eBay before you can ever consider applying as an affiliate, or else you'll just get a straight up denial from those applications, unfortunately. Now I want to go into the eBay website here a little closer and show you a number of different tricks that I use in different sections of this site that I use for this research. To start with, let me go to the eBay homepage here. When you browse categories or search for a particular type of product, you're going to get listings, obviously, for that kind of a product. And you have two different kinds of listings. You have auction listings where people are bidding on one single product that is available. And then you have buy it now listings, which are typically multiple quantities being available. And a lot of times these are permanent listings that are on eBay. These can be filtered out if you're looking for one or the other. For example, over here, auction or buy it now. They're also pretty easy to identify by just looking at the search results, because the buy it now ones will typically state the number that have been sold on that particular listing. So first of all, this information right off the bat can be really helpful to you as an Amazon affiliate trying to verify that a product is indeed selling online. And not only that, you can actually see how much that product has been selling for. 208 of this product sold for this exact amount of money on eBay. So I can compare this to what it's being sold for on Amazon. Am I promoting the better deal? And I can even advertise it as being the better deal if it's a cheaper price than this. In addition to the buy it now listings though, you have the auction listings, like I mentioned to you before. If you want to find out what these auction listings are being sold for, if you click at the bottom, show only sold listings, I'm pretty sure you will need to actually be logged into an eBay account to be able to do this, by the way. You will then be shown listings that are no longer running, but these are listings that have sold and they're over with now. So you can see the number of people that have bid on it, and you can see the actual price that that product sold for. Now, one thing that is kind of important if you're looking at eBay, and especially if you're paying close attention to the sale counts and the prices that things are being sold for, is the simple fact that not everything on eBay is brand new. You do have used products that are being sold here. However, you can simply click on the new checkbox over here in the left-hand column and revise all of these listings to where you're only seeing the things that have sold brand new. And again, you can use this information to be able to proceed more confidently with your site construction. Now, in addition to the standard eBay listings and essentially the public website that's, pretty easy to find and stumble upon, there are a number of other areas of eBay that are available that show some pretty helpful information. The first of these is called Trending Collections. This can be reached by going to ebay.com/CLN. And this is going to show you collections of eBay products that people have set up and the number of followers that these collections have on them. The followers are actual eBay members that are essentially actively tracking these collections. This can be really important around the holiday seasons because you can kind of figure out what the popular products are that year. What toys are kids going after? What are parents trying to buy that year? What are people buying for each other? What are the hot gadgets and electronics? A lot of that stuff can be found at a quick glance from these trending pages. And this even applies throughout the year for other different holidays or special occasions that might be occurring on an annual basis. Another one of these is the top products page. This is found by going to ebay.com/CTG. And on this page, you're actually being shown the categories and the general types of products that are the biggest sellers in the eBay marketplace. So if you're looking for something on Amazon that you can be confident that people are avidly buying online. Pretty much anything that you can find here on this list on eBay is a safe bet to pursue. Now there's another section that is more geared for eBay sellers. I'll provide the links for you guys for these sections. If you want to find them before this recording is available, where I'll have these links posted with it. You can also just simply go to Google and search for the eBay Seller Center, and you should be able to access this same area that I'm in here. Now, one of these subsections of this area is called Items in Demand. It actually shows you what is selling right now in a couple of different areas on the eBay website. So this is actually real-time information that you're getting from eBay sales that are going on. Again, something that can be especially useful to help you identify new products or trends that might be happening as far as buying habits for particular types of products. One of the areas, though, that I really like is this little holiday subsection. You're not always going to find this available here, but they should continue to update this each year. And the best part about it is this holiday sellers hot list right here. This actually tells you what eBay's picks are for the hottest products of the 2015 holiday season. And they'll tell you toys, specific types of toys too, especially the brand names that are being used in these toys. Fashion, home and garden, electronics, luggage, motors, sporting goods, and coins. If eBay is putting this information together, you can be really confident that anything on this list here is a good niche to go after, especially if you're already targeting this niche. Let's say you have a website that's set up in one of these niches and the holiday season comes around and you want to know, okay, what new products do I actually add in? As I was saying before, the fact that eBay has put together this list, and it's something that they've put together for this year on top of that, you can be really confident that anything on this list is worth pursuing. And if you already have a website that is centered around something that relates to anything that you see here, then I'd highly recommend that you set up a new little subsection of your site just for the holiday season even, and pursue one of these additional types of products. This is something where trying to obtain this kind of information as far as the hottest products of the year, doing this kind of thing manually can simply take a lot of time or a lot of money depending on which route you want to take with that. So having this clearly presented list available to you, especially something that goes into so much detail with the specific types and brands of toys that are being sold, very big around the holiday season, obviously. This is something that's really valuable. And again, you should be able to find this in future years through this seller center area. Now, I also want to talk to you about going beyond these websites that I've shown you tonight. Beyond Amazon, beyond Commission Junction, beyond eBay, there's obviously millions of other websites out there that you could potentially use for this type of research. A lot of this, though, can begin on Google, which is why I kind of have all this grouped into a Google subheader here. if you simply go to the Google website, you can search for things such as new products relating to a particular niche that you're thinking about targeting. You can read through other review sites, for example, that might be out there. This can be especially true if you can find a really major website that obviously gets products in advance directly from a manufacturer, and they're posting kind of like a pre-launch review of these physical goods. Using these as kind of a basis, you might not be the first person that's going to be putting up a page about that particular product, but you can be within the first group of people to do so. For example, if I wanted to try to find out what new electronics were going to be coming up next year, I could search for new electronics in 2016. And I can explore the different options that might be available to me to try to seek that kind of information out, though. One thing you will find if you do try to hunt down new types of products through Google searching, a lot of times you're going to end up with results that relate to conventions or various types of events that are going on. Obviously, with new electronics, you have the Consumer Electronics Show. These events that are taking place every single year and all over the world can be a major goldmine of information for Amazon affiliates. This is how you can actually find out about a product before anybody else puts a web page up about it. Companies will commonly reveal products for the very first time at these different types of conventions and events. One of the places that is my favorite for finding these is 10times.com/top 100. Really, the whole 10 Times website is about these types of events, trade shows, conferences, different events and venues, and so on and so forth. But this one particular page here is, in my opinion, the most useful section of this entire website. You have listed for you here the top 100 trade show or convention types of events that are going on all over the world, and this is basically within the next coming year or so. On top of that, you can also drill down into a number of different categories here. You can look at different types of trade shows or conferences. You can look at specific industries, another really good place where you can do some niche research from. You can also do this searching by country, so if you're looking at a particular demographic. Pretty much any of these events that are listed here, you can also click on them and explore them in more detail. One of the things that you may even be able to do relating to the information that you can obtain from these event listings relates to the exhibitors. The exhibitors are the people that are attending these events, the companies that are attending these events, and revealing their products or showcasing their products. In some cases, you will find that exhibitors are listed on these event pages. Other times, they're not going to be listed here. It's kind of a hit and miss on this 10 Times website. But when you can find them, if there's something here that you're really, really interested in, you can try to contact these companies privately, especially when it's around the time for these conventions to be going on. See if they would be willing to reveal any information about new products that they might be releasing or showcasing at the upcoming convention. You can be a potential customer of theirs when you're contacting them. You can also present it from the angle of free press. Hey, I run a website related to your industry. I heard you were going to be at this upcoming event or conference, and I was curious about what you might be revealing or showcasing there. I wanted to write a story about your company and what you might be doing at that particular event, and just see what kind of information they're willing to reveal to you. And obviously, in turn, you are going to end up cross promoting their products for them. You are genuinely trying to sell their stuff. That's why you want that information. Even if you're not selling directly through them as the manufacturer, trust me, they're definitely benefiting if you're selling their product through Amazon. So not every company will bite on this type of thing, but you will get some of them that are willing to reveal information for you. Another thing that is a possibility is to actually attend these conferences or events in person. Some of them are free to attend. Others will have lower entrance fees, but then you do have some that can be rather expensive. I would recommend to avoid those, at least at first, until you really get familiar with what's going on and you know what you're doing when you go into one of them. Basically, though, if you attend these events, what you want to do is have a camera and have a notebook and a pen and go around to every single booth in the entire place and ask them questions. You want to see their new products. You want to see if they will allow you to take pictures of their products, maybe even of the people at the company themselves. And obviously you can let them know why, that you're going to be writing up an article about them and about the new products that they're showcasing. They're more than happy to give this kind of information out at the actual conventions. That's what they're there for. That's the whole reason they're paying to be there, in fact. They want people to know about what they're doing. So they will readily reveal this information to you. And you can get it for not just one company, but for hundreds of companies, all in one fell swoop. Doing something like this, you can set up pages for products that might not even be released on Amazon for a couple of months or 6 months or even a year from now. But by setting up pages on a related niche website really, really early about these types of products and specifically naming them and even having pictures of them and things like that from these different trade shows, I guarantee you're going to be one of the forefront people in terms of getting search traffic for related keywords for it. Not only that, but the kind of information that you can obtain from something like that can be downright useful. You make a really good website out of it as a result. Obviously, traveling around and attending these different conferences and stuff is not going to be for everyone. I'm not saying, become a traveling marketer and constantly be going to a different conference or event every weekend, because you could certainly do something like that. But, look around in the niches that you're already involved in and see what's out there. Look around and see what conferences are going to be close by to where you live. You don't have to go to one of the major national ones like the Consumer Electronics Show. You can go to these small-time conventions and still get some really useful cutting-edge information that you can apply as an Amazon affiliate. Along these same lines, you can also kind of do the same thing with companies that are in your local area too. You can use Google, for example. I could try to find electronics stores that are in my city. And I could actually try to contact some of these and ask them, talk to employees that are really knowledgeable, maybe even visit them in person. I'd be willing to bet that if you go to something that's not one of your big box stores, you don't want a huge retail chain where the average employee really does not have a lot of knowledge about what they're doing. But if you find a small business, especially, a lot of times the employees may even be the owners of the place. And they're very knowledgeable. They know about the market. They know about what sells. They know about the products that are going to be released in the next couple of months or even the next year or two. And a lot of times they are happy to discuss this kind of information with you. Let's say, for example, you're going into an electronics store and you're thinking about buying a particular TV, but you're concerned that the TV might be replaced by a new model next month or something like that. Sometimes they won't know anything. Sometimes they can help you out and give you information that you might not have been able to find out easily from other sources. One final thing that I can encourage you to do off of Google here is to use it to find other affiliate networks besides Amazon, besides eBay, besides Commission Junction. And you can do the same type of product research through those networks as well to find different kinds of products that you may not have ordinarily thought about. To find things that might not necessarily be popular on Amazon, but they're popular somewhere else. A lot of times, the most popular things on Amazon are popular because somebody's already promoting it. Whereas the things that are fairly undiscovered are oftentimes just gold mines waiting to be discovered out there. Now, I do want to hold an open question and answer session tonight for you guys. So you can ask me anything that you want about tonight's class having to do with niche brainstorming or creative niche research especially. Before I get to that though, I do want to let you know about one thing that is just now become available, and you guys actually are the very first people to lay your eyes upon it and to get a first shot at this. My next live training series that I'm going to be running is going to be starting in January of 2016. This series is called Azon Overhaul, and it really picks up where the Azon 30-Day Challenge left off in terms of revisiting your websites, whether they are successful websites and you want to turn them into really powerful super affiliate sites, or if you have websites that are basically dead, if they're sitting there not generating any traffic, or maybe they do have traffic and they're not generating sales. There's really an extensive amount of information relating to this subject, to the point where I'm actually going to be taking 8 classes to teach my entire process for overhauling Amazon websites to either revive them from the dead or to make them much, much more powerful than they ordinarily are. Now, again, you guys are going to be the first people to get your chance at claiming a seat for this live webinar series that's going to be starting next month. It's January the 12th that it'll be beginning. So it's just barely over a month away now that it will be starting after the holidays. And since you're the first guys to get a shot at claiming your seat, you will get in for the best possible deal. Every 50 people that claim a seat, the price on this is going to be going up by another $50. I will be letting other customers of the Azon 30-Day Challenge that perhaps did not show up tonight know about this. I will also be next week letting all of my customers know about this new webinar series. And so tonight is obviously going to be your best shot to get in at the lowest price before all of those first 50 seats get snatched up. Now, I welcome any questions that you may have, again, about the entire series here that I've been teaching you guys tonight. If you do have questions about the Azon 30-day challenge itself, I also welcome them tonight. However, there will be a completely dedicated question and answer session for anything that you want to ask having to do with the Azon 30-day challenge, or getting some specific guidance with your current work in it, coming up exactly 1 week from tonight. And anyone that's in this webinar tonight is already registered for that. That's a good question, Damon. He's asking, how many websites should I complete in the 30-day challenge? It really is going to depend on what your goals are as an Amazon affiliate. The 30-day challenge recommends that you build websites that are roughly 20 pages in size. Using my strategies, the average Amazon affiliate site that I build earns about $50 upwards of $200 or so per month. What I do with that initial website that I'm building, it's obviously something that is profitable in terms of, generating revenue every month. And I could simply leave it like that. However, what I'm really more interested in is putting kind of a niche feeler out there on the market. I want to see how that niche performs. I want to see what the competition is really like in the search rankings. This way, I know what I'm actually getting into before I decide to put a lot more work into a site. Maybe before I decide to go and hire an outsourcer to get them to write a couple 100 pages worth of content for me or something. How do you know whether a niche is truly going to work or not until you try it out yourself? So to a certain extent, I'll create these initial 20-page websites to feel out the market, to figure out whether it's a profitable niche that is worthwhile to pursue even more. You can just leave your websites like that and let them earn money for you and continue to go on to create even more. It's really kind of up to you whether you want to churn out a large number of smaller websites, or whether you want to put out maybe 5 or 10 websites and pick your best performing one and then expand that website to the max. It also will heavily depend on what your goals may be in terms of income. Some people are only building Amazon affiliate websites to make a supplemental income. They may only want to make a couple $100 extra a month, and they may only need to build one website or 2 websites to do something like that. Other people are interested in earning a full-time income to where they can quit their 9-to-5 job, and they might be looking to make $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 a month. Whatever the case may be, it is possible with Amazon and with building your websites according to the Azon 30-day challenge. It's just a question of how much you want to make, really. And you just continue building out your sites until you reach your desired income level. Elon is asking, how do you have to be an affiliate of Amazon and Commission Junction? I'm not 100% positive on that, Elon. I would guess I'd be inclined to say 18, but they may have some exceptions for people as young as 13. If you are a minor, for example, and you're not allowed to sign up for Amazon, you can get your parents to do it for you. Having an Amazon affiliate account is not going to result in them being charged anything. There's no kind of billing information that you have to provide or anything like that. So I do think it's something that a parent would sign up their kid for if they, approach them really seriously, if they don't allow that. I've never actually looked into whether minors are allowed on the network. So, Randy, yes, you can work at your own pace, both with the Azon 30-day challenge and also with my new upcoming webinar series. My new series, I'm going to be having 8 classes, and they will be held once a week. I would recommend that you show up to attend the actual live classes. However, you will also get recordings from all of those classes that you can revisit at your own convenience and watch them and work through them at your own pace, definitely. So for people that may be wanting to only devote an hour a day, that's very feasible. For people that might be wanting to completely outsource a lot of the work that they're doing, I'm also going to be diving into that a lot in the Azon Overhaul class coming up. Anne, that is a really good question. I'm glad you asked that. She said, what if we bought the lifetime option? You're referring to, on the Azon 30-day challenge, the lifetime option for Team Azon Pro that was presented there. If you are either on the lifetime or the monthly Team Azon Pro membership, the class recordings from Azon Overhaul will end up getting posted in the members area there. It's really more of a question of whether you want to be doing that coaching live or whether you're fine with just having the recordings to have access to. It's whether you want that personal access to me, to be able to attend live, to be able to ask questions directly during and after my training for that additional guidance. So it's kind of just up to you as far as that goes. I do oftentimes offer my Team Azon Pro members a discount to join my live series. However, that's not something that I have quite put together yet. If you are a Team Azon Pro member and you are interested in Azon Overhaul, what I'd really recommend doing is contacting me through my support ticket system, ryanstevensonplugins.com/support, and just let me know, hey, I'm interested in Azon Overhaul and I'm a Team Azon Pro member. And that way I can make sure that I get the relevant information to you about that discount that is available to attend the live course. Otherwise, unfortunately, that's the only way that I can offer a discount to the live series, because Team Azon Pro members do essentially get half of the benefits of that live series already, which is why they do get a partial discount for that. Wong is asking, is the Azon 30-day challenge focusing on building niche category product review sites or very many single product review sites? I would definitely side more with the niche category product review sites. I'm interested in more than one product in almost all cases where I'm building a site. However, I'm not really going to be going after a super broad category either. I'm kind of going for something in between. For example, electronics, very broad category. I definitely do not want to build an Amazon website about electronics and try to cover anything related to electronics on that one website. I'd be more interested in building a website about a very specific type of electronic, and just trying to cover the limited information and a limited selection of products within that particular subniche. That's interesting. Prezi, is it? Should I go for competitive niches that have no mobile-friendly sites in the top Google listings? I would be inclined to say yes. I would, however, double check, use your smartphone and do some searches on that niche and see what is showing up. Go back through my competition analysis, trying to find the number of pages, for example, that are showing up in those results, but doing it on your mobile instead of on a desktop computer. And if you can indeed find much lower competition for having the mobile-friendly sites on there, because Google should be excluding everything that's not a mobile-friendly site now on your mobile phone from updates done this year. So I would definitely recommend pursuing one of those if you can find something like that. Possibly Wong. Wong is asking for the overhaul course. Can it help to address websites that are being labeled as spam by Google? I am going to be talking about in the initial class of the Azon overhaul course about being labeled as spam or possibly being blacklisted by Google, how you can kind of investigate those types of matters and see if it is worthwhile to try to resurrect that site or if you should just move on. In a lot of cases, the main thing to really consider is, why has Google done that? Is it the content that is on the website? Maybe it's completely automated content, as an example. Is it things like using your keywords way too heavily, trying to do something like keyword stuffing? Depending on what the problem is, you may be able to correct it and get Google to reverse its course. If you're not indexed, though, if you can't type in site : and then your domain name and get Google to return anything that's on your website, maybe your homepage, but if they're not going to return anything beyond your homepage, I would definitely take it as a trouble sign and just consider moving on to a brand new website. Just to give you some upfront advice there, but I will definitely be going into a lot more detail in the overhaul course having to do with that. Richard, if you would contact my support ticket system about that, I might be able to help you out with that there. I'd like to take a little more time and be able to answer that question for you. I believe you're asking about Azon overhaul, though, correct? Okay, great. Yeah, I might be able to help you out there, Richard. RyanStevensonPlugins.com/support. Jorge, when you expand a site to the max, how much can you expect to make in a month per site? It's really going to, again, heavily depend upon your niche, how much you actually expand the site, what the products are you're promoting, the prices that those products are available for. There's easily 5-10 different factors that can affect that. However, what you're really looking to do with that whole process, trying to turn one of these smaller 20-page websites into a much larger super authority site, you're looking to try to get 100 pages maybe even more than that. You don't have to go crazy to start with. Again, you can kind of grow these sites over time as you're able to, continue adding content on. Some people are simply looking to outsource any work that they might be doing on their sites, and so they might be able to put 100 new pages on a site in a single month. And for other people, it might take them a year to build a website up to that point. So it's really just kind of depend on your individual situation, what you can put into the site as far as how quickly you can get it built up to that point, and obviously the actual niche and the products that you're trying to promote. Wong, that's a good question also. For very new upcoming products, how do we find content to write for without visiting the conference and trade shows? Chances are, if you're finding some kind of information about it online already, if you can find a reference to it on the Amazon website or through some other website, there's probably already going to be some information out there for you. If you absolutely cannot find anything at all, though, try contacting the manufacturer. Find out the brand, find out who is actually making that product or distributing that product, and see if they have any information that they're willing to provide to essentially media or press, people that will be helping to market the idea and the release of their new stuff. Would be the main way I would recommend trying to pursue that, Wong. Daniel, that's a good question too. Am I familiar with Market Samurai, and is it good for the 30-day challenge? I am vaguely familiar with it, at least. I used it once upon a time. It's been around for quite a while. I do not currently use it these days anymore, but it's certainly something that can be useful for the 30-day challenge. When you're going through and doing the keyword research phase, you do want to utilize that, obviously, to help you find some keywords that you can target. But I would still recommend, even though you might have that, to still go to Google to use the keyword planner. I'm not familiar with maybe some of the newest features that could possibly be in there, if they have actually updated that in the last couple years or so since I last used it. When I first started using it, and even the last time that I used it, you really couldn't get access to as much information as Google was making available to you. In particular, I was interested in the trends that were behind keyword phrases. A lot of times when you're using something like Market Samurai, you might be focusing solely on that traffic number. And I find that to be an opportunity. Market Samurai is actually one of the reasons why I was able to find low competition keywords for a lot of different niches, because there were things that it overlooked, and one of those being a trending keyword. For example, let's say somebody is looking at keyword phrases and they're only interested in something that has, say, 1,000 people a month or more. If there is a product or a keyword in a seasonal or a trending niche, you're not going to have steady traffic throughout the year. You might have 2,000 people in one month, but then another month you might only have a couple hundred people. Swimming pools, for example, great example, where this is obviously going to be a seasonal niche, where one part of the year it'll be really popular, another part of the year not so much. And the average can sometimes end up falling below what people are really looking for. But those really top months within those niches can be ripe for the picking. As far as trending keywords go, the same thing kind of applies, except that traffic may not drop off again. Where if you have a keyword phrase that is new in terms of attracting a decent amount of Google traffic to it within the past year at some point, the average monthly count on that keyword phrase might not be high enough for it to really be registering for other people to notice it. But when you look into the traffic that's going on a month-by-month basis, your more recent months could be shooting way above what your averages really are. And so that's why, I say it's fine to use it, but definitely use the keyword planner just to poke around and make sure there's not something that you're overlooking in the software. Certainly okay to help save some time, though. Definitely all right. Raymond is asking, I just started with this. What software should I use to build a store? If you're brand new to Amazon affiliate sites, if this will be your very first site that you're ever building, assuming you picked up the professional version of the Amazon 30-day challenge, I would definitely recommend to just use WordPress and the plugins that were included with the professional version. And then there are a few other free plugins and a free theme that I recommend in the Amazon 30-day challenge to use. So that would be what I would recommend for somebody, especially that's never done it before. But if you have other software already, it's certainly okay to try to utilize one of those things. Just, take into account what I am teaching in the Amazon 30-day challenge, especially go through the video on the members area homepage where I talk about how to utilize various types of software in with my entire strategy. Byron, would a site about something like bass fishing or trout fishing or fly fishing be too broad of a niche? It could be. It does sound like something that's kind of vague. Basically, what I will ask myself when I'm looking at a possible niche is, how could I break this niche up into different pieces to where each piece could kind of be a standalone piece? For example, with bass fishing, you might have a number of different areas of knowledge or types of products relating to it. For example, boats, and then you would have tackle and your fishing gear. I'm not a very avid fisherman, so my knowledge there would be a little limited. But you have all these different types within that niche. And basically what I would recommend to do is to try to target one of those smaller subtypes. The reason behind all this is that, just ask yourself, what are the chances of there being other websites out there that are targeting the exact same niche that I'm trying to target? Bass fishing, there's probably a pretty good chance that there would be other sites out there. When you can narrow that down into some of those sub-niches within it, the chances then become much, much smaller, and that increases your chances of actually being able to get good Google rankings and to therefore attract the traffic and the sales to that website. See, Damon is asking, how will you be able to tell how good or bad your website is getting traffic? That's something that I touch on towards the end of the Amazon 30-day challenge, Damon, where I review my Amazon stats and my Google stats, and I can kind of analyze what's going on. I can figure out, am I showing up in Google? What keywords am I showing up under? What are my placements for those? Is there anything that I can do to help improve them? A lot of times you might write your initial article and maybe you end up on page 2 or on page 3 of Google. Unless you go and kind of investigate that a little further, you may never be aware that you're just out of reach of a decent amount of traffic. But by analyzing that kind of information, you can see that really obviously and just add some more content, expand out that section of your website. There's a number of different approaches that you can kind of use in those situations. And you can take a site from getting just a small amount of traffic or a low amount of traffic to really getting an immense amount of daily traffic coming into it, where you're getting hundreds or even more people every single day that are visiting, even a 20-page niche website. Alice, that's a good question as well. What about plugins like Associate Goliath? Can you use those? They are certainly okay to use. I talk about this some in the Azon 30-day challenge and also in my initial automated software training lesson that is on the homepage. But the main thing that I recommend with not just Associate Goliath, but any kind of Amazon software that's going to basically generate an entire web page for you, is simply to use it in moderation. Don't go overboard and generate hundreds or thousands of pages with it. What you want to do is generate them gradually and then go back through and customize them. The more customization you can do, the more unique content that you can add on to it, the better off you're going to be. You want to get it as far away from that original version as you can, simply because pretty much any other affiliate can open up one of the software titles and click a button and have the exact same page that you have. So that's kind of the heart of the Azon 30-day challenge. Is it's not to abandon that software, it's to learn how to utilize it correctly. You set up a number of pages on your site. They're going to be informational articles. Then a plugin like Associate Goliath can be used to generate product review pages for you. I would then recommend going back through and modifying the titles of all of those pages, and then also going back through and adding in some of your own unique content to each of those product review pages as well. That way, only a portion of your website is pages that are based upon those products that are essentially having that content generated by the plugin, whereas the other part of your site is completely unique, something that will not exist on another website out there. Yes, Wong, the Amazon bestsellers, hot new releases, they are sorted by the best-selling volume essentially on those pages, whereas the number one product there is the best-selling product in terms of volume. It tracks that kind of stuff. I'm pretty sure it's hourly that it updates those pages, and so it's telling you within the last hour what essentially the number one, the number two best-selling product is. So that information can change on a regular basis because it is real-time data that they're providing for you. And yeah, the movers and shakers listing can be another good subsection of that area to go and check out. That can tell you maybe a product that's been around for a while, but maybe it didn't quite catch on. There can be a number of different things that can happen. Social media can help to propel a product into the spotlight. Different kinds of TV shows can help to propel a product into the spotlight. I did a little mini training course about it once upon a time. If any of you remember American Idol and the Aerosmith guy, when he was one of the judges on it, he had those little pear feather things, the wraps or whatever. They went crazy after him simply wearing them on a show like that. So, people that are really followed and looked upon and idolized can be trendsetters in the marketplace. And those kinds of products may have been around for years and have not been very popular, and all of a sudden they get thrust into the limelight. The Amazon movers and shakers listing is where some of those products can essentially reveal themselves in that manner. So that can be a really good listing to utilize for sure. Ken, that's a good question also. He's asking, is there a minimum price level that I target? There really isn't. On average, when I'm building a new niche website, sure, I'm looking for some higher price products that I can promote that I know are going to give me good commission rates as a result of it. Something that's $100 plus obviously is going to give you a commission rate of, should be at least $4 depending on what category you're in, whether you get their volume scale or not. Anything below that can start to become to the point where you might not be earning an immense amount from every given sale. But when you start to build out a number of different websites and you start to refer Amazon sales on a regular basis, you start becoming really aware of their volume-based commission structure, to the point where if you're referring a ton of sales as opposed to just a few sales every month, they'll pay you maybe 50 or even 100% more for the exact same sales being referred. And so as far as that goes, I don't limit myself to just promoting the really expensive products. If there's a $2 product that is a perfect fit for my niche, I'll promote it. My solid state drive site that I'm setting up that you guys can view for the Azon 30-day challenge, it's actually going to be promoting a couple of really cheap products that are accessories that basically people have to have with those products to go along with the solid state drive, at least if they're going to be using them in a desktop computer. So going after the smaller priced products can be a good fit simply because it works for your niche. It's the right kind of product to promote to your website visitors. It can also help you in terms of putting money in your pocket, though, to help to increase your monthly volume by having a selection of smaller price products and higher price products. One thing that you can say for sure is that on average, when you look at all the different products that are out there, your really, really cheap products will convert at a higher rate than your really expensive products. To where if you're sending 100 people, if you have 100 people on your site and they click on a $1 product, more people will buy that than if they were clicking to go and look at a $100 product or even a $500 product. The higher you get with the prices, the less people per 100 will end up purchasing it. So in that regards, when you limit yourself just to the expensive stuff, you can sometimes limit your progress in terms of working your way up that volume scale. Whereas if you have more of a mixture, then you kind of get the best of both worlds. You get to bump your volume commission much higher without having to have an immense amount of websites to accomplish that, or an immense amount of traffic because you're going after these lower price products. But then your higher price product sales that you're referring, they benefit from it as well, because maybe instead of getting a 4% commission when you first start out, you're able to get a 6% commission on that $100 product. You know, it makes a big difference in the end when you just work your way up that volume scale just a little bit. Wong is asking to get low competition niches with potential high demand. What is basically my recommended minimum search volume per month from Keyword Planner? That kind of varies, Wong. There are kind of different kinds of keyword phrases, if you will, where you might have a vague separation of them. You could say that most keyword phrases are a buyer keyword phrase or more of an informational keyword phrase, for example. You could certainly classify some keyword phrases beyond those, or even, you know, get more specific with that type of thing. But in general, your buyer keyword phrases are always going to have higher competition for the amount of traffic that you're getting. So if you're looking at buyer keyword phrases, this might be a keyword phrase. Let's say you want to rank for the name of a particular product that you're trying to promote on Amazon. Definitely more of a buyer keyword phrase than it would be an informational keyword phrase. So you would want to be looking on maybe the lower scale. You might want to be looking at 500 searches a month, or possibly even less than that on a buyer keyword phrase. Is kind of the range that I find where your competition just starts to really skyrocket once you kind of top that traffic level. Dealing with informational keyword phrases, though, that may not be the case. You might be able to find 1,000 searches, 2, 5, 10,000 searches a month, where you still have pretty low competition on it, simply because the average advertiser, average marketer, average affiliate is not trying to go after that stuff. They do want the most direct path. And there's certainly nothing wrong with that. Getting a ranking on a buying keyword phrase is awesome. You get direct traffic, they're interested in that product, you can directly send it along to a sale. The problem, though, is that it's not always available, or it's not always feasible to obtain without killing yourself with work. So do you change niches to something maybe that you have no interest in promoting? Or do you go where the competition is low? So it can kind of depend on what approach you want to take, whether you're hard set on going after a specific niche or might be a little more flexible. It just kind of depends. Roy is asking, I say a 20-page website. Does that mean 20 different products within one niche, or one product with one product per page, or 20 pages for one product? Technically, I guess neither. My 20-page website that I'm creating is going to be a combination of product pages and likely informational pages as well. You could create a website where you have 20 different pages with one product being promoted on each page, and that's all there is to the website. A lot of times, though, in order to avoid a lot of that competition, kind of like what I was mentioning just a couple minutes ago, you might have to go for some of the informational phrases to avoid that competition. So then you might end up with maybe 10 pages on your site that are informational articles, and the other 10 pages might be product review pages, with each of them covering one product per page. There are some other examples, though, where I will cover more than one product on a page. I go into this definitely in a more detail in the Azon 30-day challenge already, where I'm talking about building brand pages, or brand posts, I believe is what I specifically called it in the 30-day challenge. The brand posts would be where I'm going after a specific type of product, but I'm limiting it to a certain brand name. So I might go after Dell computers, for example, and I might promote not necessarily all Dell computers on that page, but I might pick out a limited selection of them. Maybe some of the best selling ones, maybe some of the more recent models, maybe a budget option, a little bit of a variety, kind of something for everyone. If you're not really doing the brand pages, though, a lot of times the other option is to specifically go after one product per one page. But that would not necessarily consist of your entire website there. You might have other stuff, informational pages and articles to mix in there. Carol, that's a good question. She said, I'm new. So we are making websites to review products and send the traffic to Amazon. Why would people not go straight to Amazon? Definitely a good question, and some of them certainly do. It's more of a question of whether somebody knows about the product already. And that's another reason why I'm actually kind of partial to informational keyword phrases. Informational keyword phrases can oftentimes be people that have a question or have a problem that they're looking to solve. And so they're out there searching for information on the internet about it. And that information can oftentimes lead to the purchase of a product that's going to solve that problem for them. So they may know that they need something, but they may not know necessarily, exactly what it is that they need. And so they might go out to Google, for example, and start searching for something. Not everybody uses Amazon specifically to buy a product. And sometimes, you can still essentially convince or talk people into buying a product when they weren't necessarily already planning on doing so. People use Google definitely all the time. That's a very main source of the traffic that I go after on my Amazon sites is Google and other search engine traffic. So I'm looking to take the fact that I know that they're not on Amazon already and they're on Google searching for stuff, and I try to lead them from that through relevant, helpful information and direct them along to a product sale. People can certainly bypass your website. They don't have to go through your website and click on the button to be able to get to Amazon and to buy the products. But you set up these websites and you build the content on it to target these keyword phrases like I teach in the Amazon 30-day challenge, and you do attract traffic to it and convert it into Amazon sales. So while some people may go straight to Amazon, you definitely have other people that simply don't. Sid is asking, can you use Fresh Store Builder? That's another one, kind of like Associate Goliath there, that I had mentioned a little earlier, where it's going to be building basically a complete page for you that's reviewing a product. That information does come off of Amazon, and so it is information that every other affiliate has access to. And as a result, I do recommend, just like I was recommending with Associate Goliath, to simply change that up as much as you possibly can. And also don't make your entire website nothing but those generated product review pages, even if you are going through and customizing them. This allows you to target different keywords that other affiliates are not going to be targeting. Think about all the affiliates that have access to the same software that you have. If they take the easiest route to build a website with that software, what kind of a site are they going to end up with? And how can your website be anything different from what they're going to create? That's essentially what your ultimate goal is when using any kind of Amazon product page creation software. along with your overall site construction plan. Carol is asking about domain names. Also a really good question. Is it best to go general or exact match domains? She is asking. It can really go either way. I used to be adamant about finding an exact match domain. If you had asked me that question 3 years ago or more, probably, I would have told you definitely go after an exact match domain name. Nowadays, it's not going to hurt you to have an exact match domain. And I'm still under the belief that it does help you to a certain degree. However, it's nowhere near as big of a deal as it used to be. Google has scaled back the benefits that they offer to an exact match domain name compared with what they used to do. However, it's my personal opinion, at least, that Google could never completely do away with an exact match domain name bonus. And for one simple reason, brand names. Brand names are things that people search for, definitely. And the brand company typically has the website, whatever their brand name is, .com. And so that's a perfect example of an exact match domain name that would be the ideal result for Google to be showing. They're always going to have to consider that. Whatever kind of algorithm they can come up with having to do with exact match domains is always going to have to consider that one fact. And so I don't believe they can completely get rid of a bonus. I do have websites that are exact match domain names that are still sitting in the top of Google rankings. And I also have websites that do not have any relational keywords whatsoever in the domain that are also sitting at the top of Google rankings. So it's also about your content. What is actually on your website? You can have a website called cheese.com and you can rank for the keyword term Ferrari, as long as your website is about Ferraris and you have content on it about Ferraris. So ultimately, the domain name is not going to make or break you. So if an exact match domain is available, sure, go ahead and snatch it up. The .com especially. If you can find other ones, I really wouldn't bother as much with those. I try to stick with .com exclusively. If you can't, though, don't worry about it. Go for your own branded domain name that may or may not include some of those relational keywords that you're trying to target. Let's see, Thomas is asking, Azon Product Inspector. I am not personally familiar with, there's a couple here that you mentioned. Are you available, Thomas, next Tuesday, December 15th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time? It's when the second portion of, okay, great. That's the second webinar, the bonus webinar that I'm going to be running for the Azon 30-day challenge. I'm going to write down the name of these, I think it's 3 different software titles that you provided here. And I'll look into them in a little more detail. That way I can give you more of a specific answer instead of something that's pretty vague. And give you a little more direction on that. Because that whole class is going to be really all about helping people out with other different types of software. So as far as right now, for anything that I could offer, it's really hard to say. One of them sounds a little bit familiar. But I can't, I really can't go into specific detail about them unless I've actually tried them out or at least looked into them, I can usually contact the developers of these and at least try them out for myself so I can give you some accurate information on that. I'll make sure that I do that. I've got these recorded and I'll be sure to get to that on Tuesday. In fact, I will cover these before I cover any others as long as you are there by that time. I'll be sure to watch out for your name as well, Thomas. You are quite welcome. Happy to help out. I'm sorry I can't really give much more detailed information at this very moment about that. I would hate to say something inaccurate or incorrect for you though, since I'm not familiar with those. Stephen is asking, do I use paid traffic or is it all SEO traffic? In basically 99% of cases, I'm using all, maybe not necessarily all SEO traffic, but I use all free traffic. Unless you know beyond a shadow of a doubt that you can convert people on a particular page of your website into an Amazon sale with, really astonishing accuracy. You need to know exactly how much you could afford to pay for every single click. Free traffic is a great way to test that out and find maybe those offers that you could potentially use paid traffic on. Sometimes something really, really good will come along and, I might throw a little bit of paid traffic at it. I use paid traffic more with an Amazon website to try to build a newsletter list or something like that, more so than I would to try to do direct sales. Although it's possible you may have been talking about that. I guess you didn't specify in your question. So it could be used. Just be careful about how you use it. Don't go overboard by any means. If you're trying to promote a direct sale, you want to know exactly what you can afford to pay for every person you're sending to that listing and how many of those people it's going to take before you get a sale. And then again, exactly how much you're going to be making off of that sale, before you can tell whether it's going to be worthwhile or not. As far as building a newsletter, you would want to have a pretty good reason to do something like that. If it was a website you were going to be expanding out fairly extensively, spending a lot of time on one individual website, for example, might be beneficial to build a newsletter around it. So at the holidays, you can send out, for example, Black Friday deals to let them know about and to get some direct sales that way on through email marketing. But you can't technically promote Amazon products with email marketing directly. You have to set up a page on your website and promote that page and then funnel them into Amazon that way. So yes, I do use paid traffic, just very carefully as far as with Amazon affiliate sites are concerned. Let's see, Prezi is asking, is under, that's 1 million search listings, right? For a niche, is that considered an easy SEO point? I don't pay attention to as much the total number of listings as I am the other two types of searches that I recommend for you to do on Google. The all in title search, you have the phrase all in title, a colon, and then your keyword phrase is surrounded by quote marks. Will give you the number of pages on or indexed by Google that contain your phrase within the title. And then I also do that where I'm not using the all in title part, where I just have my keyword phrase in quotes, and that'll tell me how many pages have that phrase somewhere in the content of the page. Those are more of the numbers that I use for competition gauging, at least at a quick glance. It's one of the easiest ways that I've found to do that. So I don't know if the number you're asking about relates to one of those two. If it does, 1 million would definitely be way too high for the all-in traffic. Under 1,000 is going to be really low competition, something where it's not going to take a lot of effort. You might just be able to simply put up a 500 to 1,000 word article for that keyword phrase and rank for it. When you get above that, it requires more work kind of as you proceed. Yes, Thomas, this webinar is being recorded and will be provided to you guys within the Azon 30-Day Challenge members area sometime later this evening. It might be give or take around midnight, a couple hours after. It just kind of depends. Sometimes the videos take a little while to convert and get them uploaded and posted, but I do always get those up within 24 hours at the very, very latest. So for sure by this time tomorrow night, you would be able to find it in the Azon 30-Day Challenge members area there. Gary, that's a good question. Does web hosting server location matter with your websites? I have heard about people doing experiments with that. I have not personally done any experiments with that. I have always located all of my websites on web servers that are within the USA. And while I do promote some stuff outside of the USA, Amazon Canada and Amazon UK especially are probably my two biggest ones outside of Amazon.com. I do still have success there. I do still rank under, say, a British keyword phrase with a website that's on an American web server. I don't think it's going to make or break your chances at success. However, I wouldn't put it past Google to know, where your web server is located for your website, and it could be one of their factors in their ranking algorithm. But you can certainly overcome it one way or another, even if it definitely was part of their ranking. Let's see, Alice is asking about are they Amazon compliant? I'm assuming you're referring to software like Associate Goliath or Fresh Store Builder or something like that, where it's generating a complete Amazon page for you. In the last, I don't know, maybe year or something like that, give or take, Amazon has been becoming a little more picky with what affiliates they are allowing and how they're allowing those affiliates to refer sales to them. They're not the biggest fans of automated software that's generating a complete page or a complete website based solely off of the information that's coming off of the Amazon website. However, they're not necessarily not compliant with the Amazon terms of service. Sorry, the double negative. It's really more about how you use it, though. If you take some of that software out of the box and do the easiest possible thing with it, just generate a website with a couple clicks of a button and leave it and never do anything else to it, then it is possible that Amazon may not like that. And I have heard from some affiliates, not with either of those software titles. It was actually the one for sure that I have heard about somebody having problems with was one of the clone softwares by Cool Ice. I heard that one of them did get their account suspended for using that kind of software, and they did have just a completely generated site. The clone software, though, is definitely different from Fresh Store Builder and Associate Goliath. I've never once heard of anything like that happening with Fresh Store Builder or Associate Goliath, but because they have kind of cracked down on some users of other types of software, just kind of depending on how they use it, I definitely do teach caution with how you utilize software. A big part of why the Azon 30-day challenge was put together and the approach that I took with it and the extra training that's included with it having to do with automated software. A lot of that is geared towards those types of concepts and teaching you how the right way and essentially the wrong way to use that kind of stuff. So the software I've talked about, as far as my knowledge goes, I do believe they are Amazon compliant. It's going to depend on how you use it, though. What I like to think about is put yourself in the shoes of Amazon. If you were Amazon, would you want to pay you as the affiliate for that sale? What did you bring to the table? Did you bring them a sale that they wouldn't have gotten themselves? Did you somehow help that sale along in the process? If all you're doing is taking what's on Amazon and spitting it back out onto a web page on your own domain name, ultimately you're not doing a lot for Amazon there. So, I do think that it's something that you have to make sure you're careful about when you're setting up your websites. Don't depend on your software to do it all for you. And customize as much of it as you can. Use it to help you save time, but don't let it do all the content for you is the really important part. Therese is asking about Amazon's new groceries and food service. I could be wrong. I could have swore that I may have seen something where they're not allowing affiliates to do that. I would double check into the affiliate agreement and the excluded products and the commission and prices structure that they offer. You can find all that information through the left-hand side of your Amazon affiliate account. Look through there, make sure that's not an excluded category where they're no longer offering commission payments for it anymore. It could possibly be one of those. I do really like the idea of groceries and food being on Amazon. I don't know if it's quite caught on in the US or not. For non-perishable items, and especially for non-food grocery items, I could certainly see it being popular. Toilet paper, for example, I'm pretty sure is a bestseller on Amazon. So that could be considered a grocery, but not really more in the food area. So some of them I do think can be good. Depending on what country you're trying to target, that answer could also change. A lot of Middle Eastern countries and some Asian countries, I believe also, food is more of a concern than it is for some other countries. And the availability of food in those countries might be less. And so to be able to go online and for them to be able to order food, I could see as a much more appealing prospect in certain areas than it might be in the US, for example, where you can drive up the road and there's probably 10 different places that you could hit with a rock where you could go and buy food from. So Depending on the area, depending on the actual products that you wanted to try to promote, I think some of those groceries and food type of things could work out. Others, maybe not so much. Wong is asking, will changing web hosting hurt SEO ranking? It shouldn't, as long as you're not downgrading, essentially. The one way that I could think of where it could potentially have an effect on you would be if you had a really, really fast web server, and then maybe you switch to, the lowest possible price budget server that you could possibly find. The speed of your website could be affected in that kind of a situation. The downtime, for example, of your website could become a lot more prevalent with, a weaker server or a more crowded server or something like that. And as a result, those things can drag down a search ranking. But on the other hand, if you're making an improvement there with your web server, I can only view it as a positive change. You do want to make sure that you don't have a lot of downtime, if any, with that website. You basically set up a new web hosting account. You move all the content from that domain name over to it. And then the very last thing you do is just switch the domain name. You point it from one web server and switch it over to the other one. And it automatically transfers over, and it's all seamless. Your website never really goes down. So that would be my only other recommendation there as far as that goes. Don't downgrade, and don't let there be downtime. Ken is asking, is it difficult to be approved to become an Amazon associate? In my experience, no. But obviously, another part of your question here, you're saying you had an account, didn't do anything with it, and they want you to reapply to be able to use it, and that you were hearing it was a little more difficult now. It is a little more difficult now, in my opinion, in terms of being an Amazon affiliate, because they are looking for a little bit more. One thing you definitely do not want to do is, say, use some software to generate an Amazon website for you and then use that to go and apply with. You do want to essentially create a website first, a useful content-based website that you can then present to Amazon as what you're applying with, and they can look at it and say, okay, yeah, this is a good quality content-based website that would benefit from having some relational Amazon product ads on it. So that's the way I would go about doing it. If let's say you're brand new, you don't have an account already, and you're going through the Amazon 30-day challenge. What you would want to do is progress through the Amazon 30-day challenge. Do all of the stuff up through the content writing. Complete all the content writing. Build all the pages out on your site. This can be your informational pages, and it can even be your product review pages, but you're not doing the Amazon part of it. You're not adding in the advertising yet. So that way you have a purely informational-based website, and then that's what I would recommend applying to Amazon with. So you can progress through this series, build your website up to the advertising point at least, then apply with it, get your affiliate links, add in your Amazon advertising. I can't think of any reason why it'd be possible for you to get denied if you present them a purely content-based website, something that wasn't generated. But for some reason that were to happen, what I teach in the Amazon 30-day challenge is by no means limited to Amazon at all. You could do this for any affiliate network that exists, basically. You can even do it for digital products instead of physical products. Although there are some different concepts that come into play when you're dealing with digital products. So at least as far as physical products are concerned, um, I don't consider this to necessarily be network dependent either. So if for some reason somebody did have trouble with Amazon, maybe they had trouble with Amazon in the past and they're already suspended or banned and it's just not an option anymore no matter what they do, you know, there's still other options. Use Commission Junction, for example, and you can promote a lot of the same types of things. Robert is asking about what about a branded domain in a niche, like in a broad niche, and then having many subdirectories, each covering a specific related product, specific issue, something like that. To a certain extent, yes. That's basically what I am looking to achieve with these websites. The one thing though is just try not to go too broad with it. Like with your example, yourhealthniche.com. I wouldn't really want to target the entire health industry. There's just too much to potentially cover on one website, especially if you're doing all the work yourself. If you're writing content, you're not going to be able to compete with somebody like WebMD, for example, that's going to have information on all health related subjects practically. So you want to think about what you can compete with, scale your niche down to that appropriate level, and then, build your website around that with each page or subdirectory covering different products or different issues that relate to your closely defined niche. You're quite welcome, Therese. I just got down towards the bottom here and just noticed your thank yous. Yes, Byron. You're talking about, I guess I can kind of summarize that a little bit. Google de-indexing thin affiliate sites if they don't have enough content pages. You're specifically talking about some built with Fresh Store Builder. That's kind of what I was referring to with, trying to get good search rankings, doing something different from what all the other affiliates are out there doing. That's really what this is all about. The whole Amazon 30-day challenge, building the websites in the way that I recommend building them. It's not as easy as grabbing a piece of software and clicking a button and boom, you have this huge multi-thousand page website available for you. It's definitely not that fast. It's definitely not that easy. However, the big thing here is that, you're looking for long-term viability. You want a website that's not going to get de-indexed by Google for being a thin affiliate website. You want a website that's not going to be suspended as an Amazon affiliate because, you're not bringing anything unique to the table. So you can put more content into those software titles and to avoid those problems that maybe they're kind of being wrongly pegged for. It's all about how people are using that software. For example, to cause a Fresh Store Builder site to be de-indexed by Google, it's probably because they just simply clicked buttons and those pages are, identical as they are on other websites that are already out there on the internet. So you can go into, even on the homepage, did you happen to, Byron, did you happen to pick up the Amazon 30-day challenge through through Carrie Baird's affiliate link by chance? I provided, oh no, you didn't. Give me 1 second here. See if I can remember this link off the top of my head. No, I can't. Byron, if you wouldn't mind, if you could send me a message, and maybe for anyone else that has an interest in it, if you're using specifically Associate Goliath or Fresh Store Builder, and you want to know my exact approach to utilizing that software for inserting extra content and stuff like that into it, I do have standalone training courses that I've actually made as bonuses for those in the past. I made them available to Carrie Baird from Fresh Store Builder and George from Associate Goliath for this launch. But if you didn't pick it up through their links, then you wouldn't have access to those bonuses. If you are trying to exclusively use one of those two software titles and you would like to see one of those bonus series, contact me through my support ticket system. I'm not going to try to sell it to you or anything like that, just so I can get a link to you. RyanStevensonPlugins.com/support. Just say you were in tonight's webinar and I mentioned either the AG series or the Fresh Store Builder series, and ask for a link for that. And as soon as I end tonight's webinar, I'll make sure my support staff has the information they need to get those links to all of you that would like them. They go into, obviously much more detail than I could provide here. They're fairly extensive, multi-video long courses where I kind of walk you through the whole process. So just hit me up through my support system and I'll make sure I get that to you guys. You're welcome, Richard. Very happy to help. Yeah, my whole point of this webinar, I can't say it's a no sales pitch webinar. I have my upcoming live webinar series that's going to be in January, and this is a sales pitch, but the point of this bonus webinar is not to try to sell you something. It's genuinely to try to help you guys. The other two will be just like tonight's will be. That's fine. Nadezda? Sorry if I butchered that. I try my best on names. Yes, that's what I go for, Richard. More genuine, helpful information. Nadia, yes. Is that how you pronounce it? If that's true, wow, I was way off. My apologies. I'll try to remember that for next time I see it. You're funny, Linda. Yeah, to a certain extent, I'm not your average marketer. I try not to shove stuff in people's faces, If you want the extra help, if you like what it is that I teach, I've been around long enough to know that stuff comes pretty naturally. And it doesn't help me and it doesn't help you by trying to shove things in your face. So I try to be as helpful as I possibly can. Ultimately, if you're successful, I'll be successful. I can't possibly hope for you to still be a customer of mine, say a year from now, if I can't help you make any money on Amazon. So, my number one goal is to help you succeed. And as far as I'm concerned, anything that comes after that will, fall into place and work itself out. Thank you, Richard. Yes, go get some sleep. If some of you guys are in Europe, or I think Europe would be nighttime right now. Yes. Sorry to keep you up late. Again, the recording will be available for this. Sure, Tina. For anyone else that needed the support link, I believe this will go through for everybody here. I just sent the support link through chat for everyone, so that should be showing up for you if you need that to contact me about the Associated Goliath or Fresh Store Builder stuff. Thank you, Thomas. Appreciate the kind words. Well, sure, Linda. I'll give you the link for the next course too, if you'd like to go take a look at that. Don't want to have to type it in. Again, for those of you that are interested in attending Azon Overhaul, this is certainly not required. It's kind of more of what I would consider to be the next step, what you would do after you have a number of completed Amazon websites that you want to, say, take your best one and expand it to make it as powerful as it could possibly be. You also have your dead websites where you want to revive it. I'm not necessarily talking as much about, like, let's say if Google has de-indexed your website. Yeah, you can try to go about reviving a website like that, and I will talk about that kind of stuff, but I'm more interested in long-term, when you're building these smaller niche websites, depending on the industry you're targeting, you have products that are replaced after a while. And say you have a new model of, for example, a TV, and you might be promoting this particular model, but 2 years from now, that model's just not popular anymore. Nobody wants it. It's old news. It's junk. So people are looking for the new stuff. You have a lot of situations like that where you might have a website that is loaded with traffic, and it used to be really successful, and after a couple of years, maybe it's making less and less money as time goes on. Yes, Thomas. I will send that one more time. Sorry about that. There's the support link. And the overhaul link for those of you that, I know some of you said you saw it and others said you didn't get it. So just to make sure, there you have it. AliExpress, Prezi, you're mentioning. I'm very familiar with Alibaba. Does that have anything to do with that? I would assume that might still be the same company brand. I used to do a lot as far as, they're doing, no, I was not aware of that. Very interesting. I'm going to write that down, Prezi. Thank you. I'll have to look into that. Alibaba. Oh, they do. Okay. I have another person telling me that they also sell in similar quantities or smaller quantities to Alibaba. But then Prezi was telling me that um, it's a sub-affiliate site, like you can promote those listings for commissions. Is that what you're referring to? That would be awesome. That sounds cool, actually. I used to do vendor stuff. I really don't much these days. Every now and again, something will come along and I might do a little spurt of it or whatever, but I get tired of packaging dozens or more boxes every single day and loading them up in my car and driving them down to the post office, or paying for pickup. Kind of had to be factored into the business plan, or you had to delay all the packaging or whatever. Yeah, I know they do though. That kind of stuff nowadays. When I was doing it, like the whole Amazon thing really didn't. Amazon existed. I used Amazon and eBay, but the whole Amazon service, the fulfilled by Amazon service, I mean, it was there, but it just wasn't like it is these days. With Amazon Prime and everything, it's come a long way over the years. I just got tired of the whole having to handle every single product that I had to sell, and make sure it was getting physically delivered. And then even though you would do everything right, they might come back damaged, or people claim they never receive them. And, there were just all kinds of issues there with, I guess not really issues, just more hassles that I didn't feel like doing. And I kind of preferred the affiliate approach a lot more. So I stopped doing the whole retail approach. But that's really cool to hear that Alibaba now, with their subsite AliExpress, is doing affiliate stuff. I'm going to have to check that out in more detail. Yeah, that's a good idea, Linda. Being able to test with AliExpress in the lower quantities. They require a retail license on AliExpress, or do they even bypass that too? I know that's a big kind of. Oh, awesome, they bypass that too. I know that stops a lot of people from getting into reselling their own products. That is something, at least while we're on the subject, and I got kind of off on a rant for a couple minutes about it, talking about selling physical products. When you build up these niche Amazon affiliate websites, if you ever develop something that you're getting an immense amount of traffic to, like thousands of daily visitors, consider converting it from an affiliate site into an e-commerce site where you're actually buying and reselling those products yourself. Or even buy the products yourself, send them into Amazon to do fulfilled by Amazon, and actually get them listed under the same listing you promote as an affiliate. You help boost the sales rank, and you can also earn both the vendor and the affiliate chunk of that sale, and increase your bottom line that way too. That's something I kind of always liked to do when I was an Amazon vendor heavily. I always set up an affiliate website to try to increase my sales and get some of those sales where I'd get, a couple extra percentage points of profit on it. Seemed to help out in the long run. Thank you, Prezi and Linda, for mentioning that information. That sounds awesome, Linda. I'm really glad to hear that the AZON 30-day challenge has helped to clear up a lot of the basic analysis info. Um, that's something I always strive to do in my training. I could just try to walk you through something and do it, but not really tell you why. I like to explain why I'm doing something. That way you understand, you learn why, and it helps you to adapt to other situations in the future that might not be exactly the same. Because, you always have things in the internet world that you might be doing something similar. Like every time you build a new Amazon site, it's going to be similar to your previous ones, but in other ways, it'll be completely different. And, having that basic knowledge to kind of adapt to and figure out situations, even if you haven't been specifically taught how to do something, it's definitely beneficial. Yeah, I'll I'll see if I can't talk about AliExpress a little, maybe uh, next Tuesday or something, Prezi. I'm definitely curious about that. Want to check that out a little bit more. Someone's asking, is it true that AliExpress is larger than Amazon? As the folks from WP Express stores say. That's hard to say. I mean, in volume, sure. I bet in volume they are. In gross revenue, I don't know. That would be, you would think so if they beat them in volume. Granted, they are selling at oftentimes much cheaper prices than what you would find it on Amazon for. But then again, they do say Amazon's the number one retailer, but I guess technically Alibaba, well, I don't know, AliExpress would maybe be considered a retailer in the traditional sense, because if you don't need a retail license to buy from them, it's possible. Tina, that's a good question, actually. How do I stay motivated when life gets in the way with constant website maintenance? Number one, I try my best to design my strategies and the way I build websites and manage them. I try to do it in a low maintenance way where if I don't have the time to come back to it, let's say I build my 20-page Amazon website from the 30-day challenge and I forget about it, or I just don't have the time to come back to it. A year from now, I'd like to see, oh, wow, this site has been getting traffic and sales and stuff for me, and I haven't done anything to it. I've got plenty of websites and Amazon websites, especially, that I haven't touched in a year or more. They simply keep working as long as you target the right kinds of keyword phrases, and also if you're targeting products that are still currently in demand. Changes with that kind of stuff is really the biggest reason why you would have to go back and do maintenance on a website. At least with my Amazon sites, I don't find that I have to stay, I guess, motivated too much with my website maintenance, but definitely in my overall career as a marketer that's working at home. I'm married. I have 3 kids. They range from age 4 all the way up to 14, and I work at home. So it's definitely a struggle sometimes. It's easy to say, oh, I don't want to work today. I just want to, go out to dinner with the family, go out to the park with the kids, or whatever the case may be. So as far as that kind of goes, I try to set deadlines for myself. I try to essentially give myself a commitment, and this you can make those commitments with yourself, the deadline and stuff for yourself. It's better though when it's another person. If it's a friend or a family member that has any kind of an understanding about what you do, that's great. If you can't find somebody like that, if you have to pay for a coach or something, for example, through the Azon Overhaul course, for example, I actually am offering up, for the first time in a really long time, personal Skype coaching. Things like that where you have somebody to bounce your plans off of, for you to say, okay, I'm going to be getting this done by a certain date. And when that doesn't happen, for that person to come back to you and say, okay, what's up? What's the hold up? What's going on? Do you need help with something? Where are you getting stuck at? Why aren't you quite moving along yet? Having anyone like that can be a part of your business career, whether it's somebody that's free or somebody that you're paying to help you out, can go a long way as far as that goes. For the longest time, I didn't have anything like that. I worked on my own. I didn't really socialize a lot with like-minded marketers, with other people that were doing the same kind of stuff that I was doing. Once I reached that point, though, it really, really helped to have, those people to bounce stuff off of, those people to say, to come down on you, essentially, when you don't pull through and do what you're supposed to do. Everyone has that kind of a person in a real job. And whether we like it or not, they help us to stay productive and to stay motivated. The motivations, you don't meet your deadlines, you end up getting fired, basically. So while you can take a really, really hands-off, lazy approach to affiliate marketing, and sure, you can make a supplemental income, you can even make a full-time income for that. It's all about what you are after, what you want out of all of this. Are you trying to just make a couple $100s a month? Do you want to make a full-time income? Do you want to not just make a full-time income, but get to the point where, you can do some of the finer things in life, take vacations every year, have an extravagant Christmas? Everyone's goals are different, basically. And, yeah, my Tina, what you're asking about there, my wife, she gets it these days. She totally understands what I do as far as my work and online businesses and stuff go. I've actually been able to get her to either help me out or to even kind of have some ideas of her own, to want to try some of her own businesses online. In the early days, though, well, not quite. I'm partially, yes. I'm very, very lucky by many standards as far as that goes. She's definitely not just like me as far as the techie kind of stuff goes. I don't know, maybe forced her into learning over the years. I've probably talked about it so much that she picked it up over the years. We've been married for a while now, so. But in the early days, it sounds exactly like what your situation might be, where your significant other doesn't grasp any of it. I had extended family, especially, even though in the early days my wife might not have understood what I was doing, she understood the point of it all. She had faith in me that it would work, that I could do what I was doing and make money off of it and provide her, for our family doing this kind of stuff. Extended family was a little harder to convince. Um, I would say it took my wife's father a solid 10 years to get to the point where he didn't say negative stuff about, oh, that's not a real job. Like, I was encouraged to quit, to throw all this away and to go work at McDonald's because that would be a more stable career than what I do. And, I was determined to prove everyone wrong. And I motivated myself in the early days I think proving people wrong was a big part of my motivation in my early days. And since then, it's my family. It's the desire to want to continue with my lifestyle and the way that I work and make a living and provide for my family. For me personally, my customers are a big help. When I can see that I'm helping other people out, I know that what I'm doing is making a difference. And that's why I'm in it. I started teaching people Amazon stuff back in 2010, and I didn't have to. I kind of got talked into it, I guess, in a number of ways. I used to be really, really active on the Warrior Forum and spent a lot of my spare time just seeing what other people talked about having to do with Amazon and sometimes chiming in on different threads and stuff for, just to throw my 2 cents on whatever the topic of conversation was. And I shared one of my Amazon websites one day, and it just kind of caused a snowball effect. I just got bombarded by people wanting to know how I built it, what software I used, and all this other stuff. And it was all custom made, custom programming, the whole 9 yards. I wasn't even using WordPress back in those days. And so it kind of made me realize that what I do is maybe a little different from what some of the other people are doing, and that what I have to say can be helpful to people. And so I started sharing how I build sites with people. I started creating my own WordPress plugins to create the advertisements. That very first Amazon site that I shared on the Warrior Forum all those years ago, the ads that everyone was flipping out about are the exact same ads that you build with Product Style plugin that was included with the Azon 30-day challenge these days. And I don't pay other people to do that stuff. I created 100% of that myself. Do the programming, designing, graphics, the whole 9 yards. I guess I'm a bit of a nerd like that. But the whole thing, I guess, with staying motivated and getting your family to understand it, I guess, if they're not, if you have to do things their way for a little while you build up this other stuff in the background, so you can show them, when you can show them proof, you can show them a paycheck. You can show them, hey, I had 30,000 people visit my websites this month, and this is my paycheck from it. It's hard to deny what they can see with their eyes, especially when it's in cold hard cash. So, getting to that point can sometimes be difficult. You sometimes do have to push through some hard times. And I could totally imagine in your situation with homeschooling how that could certainly be difficult, but it is totally doable. Even when I was still kind of trying to figure everything out, and then getting acquainted with working at home before I'm I'm not rich by any means, but I'm not, I'm not poor by any means either. I'm probably somewhere nicely, comfortably in the middle, and I don't have to kill myself to stay there. But, there was a time where I was building websites on a computer in my living room with the TV on, with, some really loud cartoon and kids in the room screaming and carrying on. I've been there, and I totally understand uh, how something like that can be difficult. Headphones were my greatest friend. I got a nice pair of headphones that would block out maybe not all of the sound around me, especially if I had to work and watch my kids at the same time, for example. I still wanted to be able to hear them in case something going wrong, obviously. But, you can be sitting right next to a ton of noise. You have some headphones on, put on some music that you really enjoy, and just, zone into your work. Everything else can kind of disappear when you do it right. So you just kind of have to adapt to your environment, do the best with what you can, try to look forward to the next step. My next step was always, I'm putting myself through these hard times now to get to the point where I could live in a house and have a nice private office, something that I have these days, which I couldn't do these webinars if I didn't. Obviously, if a kid was sitting right next to me screaming, it wouldn't make for a very professional kind of a learning environment, but they're there, probably 30 feet in that direction through a couple of walls, and there's ways to make it work, and to make it work for you depending on what your situations may be. Thank you, Thomas. I appreciate that. I know what you mean about being overwhelmed and confused by all of the information out there about either being an Amazon affiliate or being an Amazon vendor. I do try to not overwhelm people, I guess you could say, to simplify it, to teach you the basics of it all, and to teach you why I'm doing it, so you don't have to really hear it over and over again. So thank you for your comment, and I'm very happy to hear that you have found that helpful. Stephen, you have had 3 WordPress blogs hacked and taken over by Russian hackers. Recommendations for WordPress security. That is certainly something that is a lot more common these days, I guess, than it used to be. In my personal experiences, honestly don't even know exactly how many WordPress websites I run. It's well over 100. The only times that I have ever had any of those sites hacked into, the WordPress websites, are when I failed to keep my software updated, where I basically let WordPress lapse and security vulnerabilities were discovered, and I just didn't upgrade with the new patch because I was probably working on a different site or something. It just wasn't something that I kept up on, at least at once upon a time. Definitely try to do that more these days than I used to. That can be a major factor in why they end up getting hacked, because there are published security holes basically in that software that are known once it becomes outdated and they're patched. WordPress acknowledges those holes, and publishes information about them. And if you don't upgrade, then you become an easy target. I believe there's also a way that maybe they're able to actually figure out in bulk the WordPress version that you're using by just simply visiting your public web page, for example. And so then they can just kind of pull up a little list of sites that they try to target. So my number one recommendation for you there is make sure WordPress stays updated all the time. Any other software that you have on there, make sure it is also staying updated. And I would also be at least cautious about what kind of software you put on there yourself in terms of the plugins and the themes, and these can be free or commercial too. For example, being a WordPress plugin programmer myself, it's certainly possible to where somebody could build a plugin that just gives them a backdoor into your website. And then you can take that plugin and publish it in the WordPress repository so people can download it for free, and you call it something else, say an SEO plugin. And maybe it has plenty of other features, but you could still have, your little backdoor built into it like that. So any free software that you're using, for sure, I would at least be careful about what you're using. Make sure it's something that's being widely used and, has enough eyeballs on it to where somebody would have figured out by now if it was, something malicious or not. Something in, that you just find through searching through WordPress that hasn't had but a couple of reviews on it, or maybe it's a brand new plugin or something. You just sometimes don't know what you're really installing on your website. WordPress does not monitor or moderate those in any way, form, or fashion. I can at least tell you that. They have other people, other software out there, that security-related software that can help to look for vulnerabilities. WordFence, I believe it's called, can actually detect vulnerabilities like that in your scripts, for example. But beyond something like that, just keep your software updated. You can also try I don't know, like basically going through sorry, I'm losing my train of thought here. Your login information is one thing that people are, I don't know, they'll kind of say, don't create your username as admin, for example. I do have a lot of WordPress sites where my username is admin. And not only that, but I've even done training videos where hundreds or thousands of people have watched those training videos, and I have the login, where they can see what my username is in that video. And those sites have never been hacked. And I am strongly under the impression that that is because I'm careful about the software I put on my sites, and I make sure it stays up to date. So I really believe if you stick to those couple of things, you don't have to worry about other software, having to buy other software to help to protect you, or having to really do a lot of anything special to make sure your sites aren't getting hacked, because it's really not a common problem for me. Honestly, it's not something that's even happened to me in, I would say it's been about 3.5 years or so since I had even one single WordPress website hacked into. Oh, really, Tina? At the on the Warrior Forum, you thought I thought you had seen me? Yeah, I was there. PHP Net Pro, I believe, was my username. I don't think I was labeled as Ryan Stevenson there. Before I was ever I joined them before I was ever even trying to teach people stuff. So I didn't exactly try to brand my own name there on that website. But yeah, there's still a lot of posts of mine that are there, and still generate a lot of traffic. Actually, I still have this one newsletter that still gets signups off of a specific Warrior Forum post that I did 6 years ago or so. Okay, Tina, I will check into that for you. Not quite sure why you may have been having issues with this. That's the T-Maison Pro, right? But I will definitely look into that for you, and if my support guys don't beat me to it. But if they have any issues, if anything's out of the ordinary, they always come to me. So I will make sure one way or another you get taken care of. Yes, Linda, that's the problem that I had. She's talking about selling physical products on Amazon and wanting something a little more passive. Um, that was the problem that I kind of ran into. Um, yeah, I got tired of all the packaging up of boxes and having to, have just hands-on. If you weren't involved in it and doing it, it just, your business wasn't moving kind of a business. So doing the affiliate stuff certainly makes that more feasible to go for the passive end. And with having the knowledge on the vendor side, that can certainly be beneficial for you, I believe, as an affiliate. I feel like it's always helped me out, having the knowledge of not just the affiliate side of it, but the knowledge of what goes on the vendor side too. I do not use WP Pipeline, Hara. Yes, Linda, WordFence is pretty good with, what I was talking about with discovering vulnerabilities that might be. Someone else is saying there's a free one called Malwarebyte. It might. I haven't used that one. It might do the same thing. I have not used Xsite Pro either. In the last 5 years, I would say, I don't believe I've made a single website not on WordPress. I pretty much make everything on WordPress nowadays, from affiliate websites to I don't currently run any, but I've done e-commerce websites on them with a lot of custom programming, granted. I even do all of my stuff as, say, for example, a JVZoo vendor and a JVZoo affiliate. I do all that stuff based on WordPress as well these days. So, and I'm the kind of person that can do it without WordPress. I can program a website from scratch. No WordPress, no anything. Just a web hosting account and a blank text file, and I can turn it into a web page. The reason why I use WordPress, though, even though I can do it the other way and have done it the other way many times in the past, WordPress is easier and much, much faster. And so, no point in reinventing the wheel when it's already there for you. Then I do not actually use. There are a lot of plugins that you can use to back up a site for you. I do it manually through Control Panel, or depending on what it is, I have some shared hosting accounts that I use mostly for Amazon affiliate websites, and then I also have dedicated servers as well, mostly used for stuff besides Amazon affiliate websites, and I have some automated backups that happen for me on a server-wide basis, for example. So my approach to backing up my websites, short of doing it through Control Panel, your web hosting Control Panel, is probably not something that would, I don't know, be useful or anything but super confusing for, I don't know, the average person. The way I do it on my dedicated server isn't even something that would be available to people using a shared server, as an example. So I don't really use the traditional kinds of software like a plugin, because there are some plugins that can back up your sites for you, and those are just fine. There's nothing wrong with using those, but they're not necessary either. Your WordPress site is contained 100% in the files that are on your website and in the database that it creates. Actually, all the content and stuff of your website, minus files that you upload to it, all that is contained within your database exclusively. So you just got to back up the files themselves and back up your database, and that's all you need to move or restore those sites. That's not good to hear, Linda. It's been a while since I had to deal with Amazon seller support, but so you're saying it's a super time sucker now. I can imagine that would not be very fun to deal with. Sorry to hear about that. You would think Amazon's seller support would have gotten better over the last couple of years, just with their constantly growing popularity. Sounds like they need to address that. I believe, to the best of my ability and knowledge, I believe I have covered everyone's questions in here. If you have currently asked me a question that I have not responded to, if you wouldn't mind, please punch it in again for me. It may have gotten lost in everybody's questions here, but I believe I have covered everything that was asked for me here. Just to ensure, though, I want to stick around a couple more minutes just to make sure there are no unanswered questions. This also will not be your last opportunity. All of you that are here tonight are already registered for my webinars next week. It's going to be on Tuesday the 15th and on Thursday the 17th. Tuesday is going to be more about helping you out with your software to apply it with the Azon 30-day challenge. And Thursday is going to be an open free-for-all. Whatever you need help with, I'm there to help you with it on next Thursday. Those will both be at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You're quite welcome, Tina. Thank you very much for your kind comments. I appreciate it. Yes, Jeffrey, And anybody else that may have joined in late. This webinar was recorded, and I will be providing that recording. If you log into your member account on the AZON 30-Day Challenge website, in no more than 24 hours from right now, you will find the recording from this entire webinar posted up there. We're hitting 3 hours, so it will take a little while longer than normal for that to convert. Usually they take a couple hours to convert and get uploaded. This might take a little longer than that, but I won't go to bed tonight until it's posted up in the members area, though, so you will definitely be able to find it there. You're quite welcome, Jeffrey and Nadia. Thank you as well, Prezi. Thank you, everyone, for all of your amazing questions tonight. I really appreciate it. I think it helps other people out when you ask questions. You know, not everybody likes speaking up and asking what might be on their mind. And sometimes having somebody else do it for them and getting an answer that's going to help you out can be really beneficial. So thank you for helping out everybody else tonight. And I hope I have also been able to help you out in the process and teaching you something useful, especially as far as brainstorming for new niches and new products. And again, thank you all for picking up the AZON 30-Day Challenge. I sincerely appreciate your business and will do everything within my power to help ensure your success. You're welcome, Ken. Thank you, Curlin. You're welcome as well. Thank you, Linda. I appreciate that. I hope to see all of you again next Tuesday for the second bonus webinar for the AZON 30-Day Challenge. Again, just keep a lookout for your GoToWebinar reminder email, just like you did today to join up with tonight's webinar. Thank you all again. I hope you have a wonderful night, and I look forward to talking to you again soon. Thank you, Ara. Good night, everybody.